call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Lyda?
Here.
Admiral Natter?
Here.
Mr. Reeves?
Here.
Mr. Skelton? Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Wright?
Here. We can stand for the invocation.
Let us pray. Thank you for this day, Lord, and the blessings and opportunities you have granted us. Thank you for our loved ones. Thank you for our homes and our jobs in this city. You are a most gracious Heavenly Father, and we are so thankful for your love, your promises, and that your mercies are new every morning. Please be with us in this meeting tonight, Lord. Grant our leaders wisdom and discernment as they conduct the business of our city. We pray that we honor you in all we do. We love you, Lord, and we praise your holy name. Amen.
We have something special tonight. $10 to come up and take your place from the diocese and join us in doing the pledge, and then $10 to sing the Star Spangled Banner for us. They're led by Mr. Kincaid over here. And we'll turn and dress the flag here behind you, and then we'll raise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flares, the bombs bursting, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave?
We have a proclamation for NAMA Foundation, and the teachers would want to receive this award of Sarah Womack, Natalie Evans, Lisa Latham, John Kincaid, Melanie Harris, John Keaton, Kyle Moore. Y'all would all come down, Nikki Potts, Leslie Van Sant, Jeff Condon, Paula LeBlanc, Brian Wilson, Betty Wilson, Rachel Smith. Generally do the tallest in the back and the shortest in the front. Mayor over here. Slide right in. Go in the middle. Mr. Walter, if you would.
Whereas music is a universal language that speaks to all people, whereas the study of music contributes to the development of young people through heightened skills in listening, reading, self-expression, and creativity. And whereas the study of music is basic to a complete education and provides a competitive edge for successful educational reform, while engaging students in individual and group activities which develops creativity, problem solving, and critical and evaluative skills. And whereas music education helps students acquire skills in the production and performance of music, as well as gives them an understanding of history and culture. And whereas music and other arts significantly enhance the morale and quality of the school environment. And whereas music education programs should be maintained and available for all students regardless of their socioeconomic status or their abilities. And whereas the National Association of Music Merchants Foundation exists to celebrate and promote the intrinsic value of music education, and for the 4th consecutive year has named the city of Hoover, Alabama to the 2016 list of best communities for music education. Now therefore, I, Gary Ivey, Mayor of the city of Hoover, Alabama, do hereby commend the achievements of our Hoover City Schools music education programs and wish continued success as recognized by the NAM Foundation. Proclaimed this the 16th day of May 2016, signed by Mayor Ivey as well as Council President Wright's property attachment.
Rookie photographer.
This is Laura's job. Let me do one more.
Mr. President, if I could also recognize Dr. Kathy Murphy, Superintendent of Hoover Schools, Dr. Cindy Adams, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Craig Kelly, our Board of Education member. Thank you all for being here.
We have another point, the Board of Zoning Adjustments, Mr. Reed, Mr. Lee Green.
Yes, Dan Lyco's term expired, he's just done a great job. I'd like to move that he be reappointed to that position.
Second. Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So appointed. Also, I've noticed we have quite a few candidates, and it's been our custom to allow candidates, once they declare, to call the city clerk, Margie Hanley, and have 3 minutes on the agenda just to give us an orientation or introduction of yourself. So we'll allow that to start with the first meeting in June for any of you candidates, and welcome to see you. In the minutes, everyone received a copy of the May 2nd, 2016 regular meeting and May 12th work session. So I take a motion.
Did the May 12th work session occur?
It's a very short sheet.
I move for approval of the minutes for the May 2nd, 2016 and the short May 12th work session 2016 as presented without reading.
Second. Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. First resolution, 540816. I understand it's not ready, and I'd entertain a motion to continue to our next meeting.
Mr. President, I move that resolution number 5408-16 be continued until the next meeting.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion from the council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution's continued. Resolution 540916, Mr. Walker.
This resolution awards bid number 13-16 for municipal street sweeping services to Sweeping Corporation of America. Two contractors bid on the project. Sweeping Corporation of America bid $50.54 per curb mile for street sweeping work performed on a weekly basis, $52.56 per curb mile for street sweeping work performed on a quarterly basis, and $176.38 per hour for street sweeping work performed on an on-call basis, was the lowest responsible bid meeting all specifications and requirements. The resolution also authorizes the mayor to execute a contract with Sweeping Corporation of America for the work to be performed.
Mr. President, I would move to approve resolution 5409-16.
Motion second. Time out while we figure out whose mic's messing up. Thank you. Discussion from the council. Discussion from the audience. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Resolution 541016, Mr. Walker.
This resolution declares the weeds and/or grass on the following properties to be public nuisance and orders the abatement of such weeds and/or grass is provided under sections 11-67-60 through 11-67-67 of the Code of Alabama. You'll note that we've deleted, I think, 3 addresses, but the addresses that are correct are 6174 Valley Station Circle, 2308 Empire Road, 3256 Mockingbird Lane, 1858 Burning Tree Circle, 1312 House Ear Lane.
Make a motion.
Mr. President, I would move for approval of resolution 5410-16.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion 2 seconds. Any discussion from the council?
Mr. President, Robert, these photographs are accurate and as of today?
Yes, sir, they were all taken this afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Robert, do you have any idea of the ownership of 1858 Burning Tree Circle? I understand that's the house that caught fire a year or so ago.
Yes, sir, that had some damage about 2 years ago, and according to the neighbors, he did some work and they think he ran out of money. The address of the owner is Fort Mitchell, Alabama. I'm not even sure where that is, but the house is vacant currently.
Do you know who the owner is? Who the owner is?
Yes, sir, I have a name, but he lives out of town, and according to the neighbors, he just hadn't been back in quite a while.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the property's been abandoned?
It's been vacant for a while. I don't know if you quite call it abandoned, but it has been vacant for a
Is it
while.
damaged to the point that having it dismantled is?
It's in bad condition. We can certainly have one of our inspectors look at it. To my eye, it doesn't look like it's ready to be condemned.
Maybe you can report back next meeting?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Mr. President, Robert, so 2308 Empire Road, the city cut that last year,
Yes, sir, that is correct.
I problem again with it this year.
Yes, sir, it does have been an ongoing problem.
In your district, thank you.
Additional comments from the council? Any from the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Resolution 541116. Mr. Walden.
This resolution authorized $4,000 in travel expenses to be paid to Captain Harry Long. This has been advanced to Captain Long in order to defray the cost of travel and expenses in connection with his scheduled training at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. Upon Captain Long's return, he'll provide an itemized statement of expenses. They'll be presented to the treasurer of the city for expenses incurred over and above the approved amount. If the total expenditure is less than the advanced amount, Captain Long will reimburse the city for the excess upon his return.
Mr. President, I would move for approval of resolution 5411-16.
Second. Have a motion second. Any discussion from the council?
Mr. President, Chief, when does the captain leave?
Captain has to report to Quantico on July 11th, and will graduate September the 16th.
So, by the time he gets back, we may all look different, huh?
I hope not. What do you want me to say?
Good enough.
Congratulations, Chief, to Captain Long.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Public hearing to consider the adoption of 2014 Jefferson County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. Mr. Westover.
Mr. Wright, that's being handled by the fire department, Mr. Rusty Lowe.
Okay, well, let's do the resolution 541216
Okay.
with it, Mr. Walter.
This resolution adopts the 2014 Jefferson County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. The city has participated in the development of the plan in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. The plan identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property in the city from impacts of future hazards and disasters. The resolution also authorizes the mayor to execute any document necessary to effectuate this adoption.
Mr. President, I would move for approval of resolution 5412-16.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion from the council?
Mr. President, XO Lowe, could you come down and give us a short synopsis of what we're about to vote on?
Yes, sir. What this is the hazardous mitigation plan that goes along with Jefferson County's emergency operation plan. This particular section of the plan was actually completed in 2014. FEMA rejected it and sent it back for corrections. Those corrections have been made throughout the plan. ours was intact and only required just a few tweaks, but basically this plan has to be in place for us to be eligible to receive FEMA funds for any long-term mitigation that would occur after a disaster.
Are there any budgetary monies that need to be included?
No, sir, no, this would be on an individual case basis after the disaster.
And how thick is the full document?
It's pretty thick. I can't tell you exactly how thick, but it's a big document.
I've asked Mr. Danielson at least.
Our section is about 192 pages.
You know, I probably put him to sleep several times. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Additional comments from the council, any from the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Resolution 541316, Mr. Walden.
This resolution authorizes the mayor to execute a sanitary sewer right-of-way and easement deed to Jefferson County on property owned by the city of Hoover, being situated on the Hoover Indoor Center site adjacent to the Hoover Met.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution 5413-16.
Second. Have a motion, second, discussion from the council. Discussion from the audience. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Resolution 541416, Mr. Walden.
This resolution authorizes the Birmingham Water Works to install fire hydrants in 10 locations for the Stadium Trace Extension and Lake Wilburn Phase 1.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution 5414-16.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion from the council?
Mr. President, Chief Wingate, are these gonna be on Birmingham water instead of Bessemer?
These are,
Sir?
these are.
These are.
These are gonna be in Birmingham.
Okay. Thought you said
These are.
these are. Thank you.
Additional questions from the council? Any from the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Put the fire hydrants in. Motion to approve ABC application for CLRS LLC Shades Crest Shell located at 3402 South Shades Crest Road to allow off-premise sale of retail beer and table wine. This is a change in ownership previously approved. Need a motion?
Mr. President, I move for approval of application.
Second. Have a motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Second reading of resolution 540316. Mr. Waller.
This resolution de-annexes a property located at 1400 Shades Crest Road, Birmingham 35216, from the city limits of the city of Hoover. The owners of the property, Melba Kane and Jolene Mills, have requested that the city council de-annex the subject property. The city council has determined that the de-annexation of the property is in the public good of the city. The resolution also directs the mayor to certify a copy of the resolution together with all other documents required by state law and to file such documents with the judge of probate of Jefferson County. This de-annexation shall be effective upon the order of the judge of probate of Jefferson County or as otherwise prescribed by law.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution 5403-16.
Second. Motion second. Discussion from the council.
Mr. President, I just wanted to give the audience a little background on this. This property fronts both Shades Crest Road as well as the Oxmoor Hill. And what they've done is subdivided this property into two lots. The Shades Crest part will stay in the city while the part that fronts Oxmoor Hill will ultimately be annexed into Homewood.
Additional discussion from the council. Any from the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We got to call the roll on that. Please call the roll, please.
We'll call vote.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye.
Apple Natter?
Aye.
Mr. Rudy?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye. Motion's adopted. Second reading of resolution 540416. Mr. Walden, please.
This is another de-annexation resolution for the property located at 2816 Columbiana Road, from the city limits of the city of Hoover. The owner of the property is the Hoover City Board of Education. They've entered into a sales contract to sell the property. The sales contract is contingent upon the annexation of the property from the city of Hoover. The Board of Education has requested that the council de-annex the subject property. The council has determined that the de-annexation of the property is in the public good of the city. The resolution also directs the mayor to certify a copy of the resolution together with all documents required by law and to file such documents with the judge of probate of Jefferson County. This de-annexation will be effective upon the order of the judge of probate or as otherwise prescribed by law.
Mr. President, I would move for approval resolution 5404-16.
Second. We need adoption on this one.
Adoption,
Yes.
and I would move for adoption of the resolution.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion from the council?
Mr. President, council, this sale is contingent upon the de-annexation.
Correct.
So if it's de-annexed, and the sale doesn't go through, do we get it back?
No, not if it's already been de-annexed. The de-annexation is not contingent upon the sale. The sale is dependent upon the de-annexation.
So we'd have to annex it back.
It's the letter to the probate judge is not gonna be triggered until the sale's finalized by Vestavia. And we spent some time in meetings, so we've had a gentleman's agreement from the mayor of Vestavia that we're not going to the probate judge for the approval to finalize this until that's completed. That's been one of our fears the whole time, that we would de-annex it and then Vestavia would change their mind and not buy it. And I think April has worked diligently on that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, April, you better address it, but I will just say, Councilor, that this step is necessary before we can file with the probate. We're not gonna file with the probate court until we got a comfort level that the sale's gonna go through, the Board of Education is gonna get their money. And then we'll get the judge of probate, which is really more of a ministerial function at this point for him. It's not, this is not adversarial filing that we're doing.
Dr. Murphy, just to reiterate, the school board is in favor of this.
Yes, sir.
Additional comments from the council, from the audience? Mr. Fuller.
I'm Dan Fortin. I'm at 1440 Arthur Avenue. This is for the city attorney. If the property is de-annexed and the sales goes through, and so now the Board of Education of the state owns the property, and after they go back over it again and review it, they decide, no, this won't work for a junior high school. We thought it would, but it won't. And they then just go ahead and sell it.
To my knowledge, that's really not an issue for the city. That's an issue that's between the Board of Education, the two boards of education.
But
I will tell you, my opinion is that they're not constrained about what they can use for as long as the zoning fits.
once they own it,
Once it's theirs, it's theirs.
it's theirs.
We don't have any strings that go with it and say that it's gonna revert and we're gonna undo this. That's not part of it.
So then they decide it won't work for junior high school. And here comes the developer and just, hey, I'll give you $12 million for it. I want to build a luxury sports heritage luxury hotel on the site.
If that meets the zoning
And
requirements,
if they zone it, then they can do that, can't they?
if it meets the zoning requirements for the city of Vestavia.
Vestavia.
And we're assuming it's gonna be annexed into the city of Vestavia and not remain in unincorporated Jefferson County.
Right, I understand. I'd like to point out that Mr. Board Member Presley and Board Member Beach both voted against this purchase. So the vote was not unanimous. It was not 4-5. It was just 3-5 on a very important decision. The whole area is very important should stay in Hoover. So I'm calling on you tonight to refuse de-index and instead to get to work and let's buy the property. Have the mayor buy the property from the Board of Education and write them a check for $11 million. Now, is this a good investment for the city of Hoover? You want to recoup that $11 million. I think you can come up with it some way, but come up with it. But you want to recoup the money. So let me address that. I think it would be an excellent investment for the city of Hoover. And I think you should purchase it from the Board of Education for $11 million. Let me share this with you. Now this is going to say Crossroads. And that's referring to two reasons I wrote Crossroads, not Old Berry. One reason is because it is a central location. Now it may be on the edge of Hoover, but it is central. You have Columbiana Road, the Richmond Highway, you have US 31, you have I-65, all merging together. It is central to the greater Birmingham area. So anything that we put there is going to be easily accessed from all over Birmingham, whether it's Homewood, Vestavia, Alabaster, or in Shelby County, Alabaster, from downtown Birmingham. From this location, you can get to UAB in 20 minutes easily. And you can bypass the freeway going to Great Springs. Let me share this with you. Mr. Lyda, if you will pass this out. I think this is a review. I'm giving this to the Board of Education, and I believe I distributed it here before. Now, these are some possible uses for the property that Hoover, so they can recoup their $11 million. Of course, this is before marketing. Mr. Payton, we had some really smart marketing, like for the baseball tournament. It's amazing what might be done. Now, if you look at the sheet and you look down, you see luxury resort hotel. Now, that is exciting to me because of the sports mix. And I think we can use another luxury hotel, and I would ask that they consider making this a sports heritage, sports legends luxury resort hotel that will fit with the Southeastern Conference, with the NCAA, the AAU, and with the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. A place where you can see exhibits, where you might have rooms that are just all Crimson Tide rooms, and Auburn Tiger rooms, and so forth. Now, in the present configuration of the site, it would not allow a Ross Ridge golf course, not large enough. We have a football field, and we have a baseball field already on the premises. What luxury hotel can claim that? And it is easily to get there from the to UAB over to the Sportsplex, our new Sportsplex, or other places in the area. Another option is you see retirement community, and I think something like Mount Royal Towers or Galleria Woods. This would be a luxury development. And by the way, both of those two produce revenue for the city. Let's say you sold the property and you sell it for $7 million, you out $5, but you're going to recoup that in a revenue stream that will come from that property. Now, if you wanted to bypass the revenue stream, but look at perhaps developing the city in other ways, you might look at the bullet point UAB South Campus, Research and Development Center and Park. This would fill with early college that's becoming popular among local high schools, whether it's Homewood, Vestavia, or Hoover. If you look at the 6 major cities of Alabama, all of them have major colleges. Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, Mobile. But not Hoover. We're on top of 6. We have Jefferson State, Satellite. But we do not have a major facility. UNB South Campus satellite campus might be ideal for that spot with startup R&D projects in this particular park. Other options on this list is a comprehensive health, fitness, and aquatic center. We have some large mega churches. Just recently, Highlands purchased the Hoover brand, isn't that right, Mayor? We have some very large churches. Some of them are outgrowing their campuses. This might be another campus for Highlands. It's still growing. I pass Chase Mountain Baptist Church all the time, and I say, you know, they're starting to outgrow their location. They may need a satellite campus. So the churches, something they have a lot of support. That'd be something that the city, if they own the property, again, might consider giving them a reasonable price for the property. The city might have to take a little loss, but again, it's for the good of the community. On the other hand, it's for a development that brings in revenue, could easily recoup, I think, that $11 million. Now, if it goes to Vestavia, we lose any revenue stream, that's gone. And as the city attorney has pointed out, if they decide they don't want to do a school there, and they just want to sell it, then they can sell it. They can look at this list here. They might want to go to David Bronner and say, Mr. Bronner, we've got a site which I think would be ideal for one of your new luxury hotels that will work also with Ross Bridge. And they might get him to go for it. Otherwise, if we keep it, then we can make that offer. So I would think long and hard before you de-annex this property. Now, the school board does need their $11 million. So you won't have to work on getting that more than that. I would not want them not to miss out on that. On the other hand, I just do not, it just infuriates me. That I have many friends in Vestavia. I shop some in Vestavia. But by golly, we need to keep that property. That does not belong in Vestavia. That belongs to the Hoover. Thank you.
Mr. President, got a couple of questions. Mr. Kelly, was the board vote, was it required to be a supermajority or simple majority?
If we have less than 4 members there, it must be a majority vote. We had a full quorum there, 3 to 2 was enough.
We just needed a simple majority.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Yeager, if the city were to buy this property, we'd drop our reserves by approximately a third, correct?
Yes, sir, general fund reserves would drop by a third.
What would that do to our bond rating since we're going to be going to the market soon?
Reduce it.
It would adversely affect our AAA rating.
You take the rest of the reserves to repair it.
Thank you.
Further questions from council and from the audience? If the clerk would call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyden?
Aye.
Admiral Natter?
Aye.
Mr. Reeves?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye. Resolution passes. Second reading ordinance, resolution 540716. Mr. Kelly.
This resolution authorizes the use of electronic vote counting devices for all subsequent Hoover municipal elections. Section 17-7-21 of the Code of Alabama provides that a municipality may, in its discretion, authorize, adopt, and direct the use of electronic vote counting systems for use in all elections held in such municipality. Under this resolution, the electronic vote counting devices in Jefferson County will be used in city elections. It also directs the mayor to file a copy of this resolution with the Secretary of State. It's provided in 17-7-20 of the code.
Mr. President, I would move for adoption of resolution 5407-16.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion?
Are these the same type voting machines that were used in the primary?
They're identical, same one.
Thank further questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye.
Admiral Natter? Mr. Reeves?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye. Second reading ordinance number 162301 will be continued to the next meeting, first meeting in June. Have a first reading ordinance number 162302, Mr. Walter.
This ordinance would vacate a portion of RV Trace right-of-way. The city council, according to this, desires to initiate a vacation of that portion of the right-of-way pursuant to sections 11-49-100 through 11-49-106 of the Code of Alabama. A sufficiently ample portion of the roadway shall remain open to accommodate travel and traffic of the general public after the vacation of such portion of right-of-way. The council finds that it's in the interest of public convenience that such portion of right-of-way be vacated and discontinued as a public roadway, and that such portion of the vacated right-of-way be used for the erection and maintenance of a municipal building. The proposed vacation was previously approved by the Hoover Planning and Zoning Commission at its May 9 meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Walter. If I get a motion, Admiral, on ordinance 162301 to continue to the next meeting.
Mr. President, I move a motion to adopt the ordinance 16-2301 be continued until the next meeting.
Second. Got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
First reading ordinance number 162306, Mr. Walter.
This ordinance amends portions of Chapter 11.5 of the Municipal Code. The Alabama legislature enacted legislation completely preempting, quote, the entire field of regulation in this state touching in any way upon firearms to the complete exclusion of any order, ordinance, or rule promulgated or enforced by any political subdivision of the state, with certain exclusions. The city received a complaint from the Attorney General's office stating that the office had received a sworn petition requesting an investigation of signs prohibiting firearms posted at city-owned parks and facilities. Subsequently, the Attorney General determined that Alabama law, this is a quote from the Attorney General's draft, Alabama law does not allow the city of Hoover to prohibit firearms at public parks. Currently, the municipal code does not permit the possession or carrying of firearms at city athletic parks, lake parks, passive or playground parks, and preserves. The city was given until May 16 by the Attorney General to modify any ordinances regulating firearms and to remove any signage related to firearms in city-owned parks. So this ordinance would remove the word firearms from the list of prohibited items at all city-owned athletic parks, lake parks, passive or playground parks, and preserves.
Second. That's the first. That's the first reading.
Mr. President, if I could, real quick, Mr. Walter, does that include all of our youth activity parks like Hoover East, Shades Mountain, Hoover Central?
If those activities are occurring in an athletic park, a lake park, playground, or preserves, then it will allow the fire.
Additional questions on the first, the second reading on that for adoption Monday, June 6th.
Mr. President, Mr. Warren, does that include the library?
The library, in our opinion, is a walk over to the part of the municipal building.
I thought I read a letter from the Attorney General that said that it was not connected, so likewise it was not here.
We haven't included in this ordinance.
The library was excluded, and so we had to take the signs down there too, because it does not have controlled access temporarily. There is controlled access there. Chief Durza says put a police officer on the door as a guard, and there is temporarily controlled access, and that's in place for this week. We wanted to talk to the mayor and talk to y'all and see if you want to provide permanent access in the way of a guard there, or do we want to take the signs down?
But this ordinance does not address that.
But as I understand it, the open carry law says if you do not have a guard there, you have open carry access.
Correct.
So in order to prevent firearms into the library, we would have to have a guard at the
We got one there started this morning at 8 o'clock.
And there's two entrances.
It's just one. The other one's been closed.
What
Just
about,
one access point.
if I could, what about the senior center and the rec center?
Rec center has control access. Yes.
And the senior center?
Yes. If it does not have controlled access, it will have to have that.
Senior center wasn't challenged.
Do we have signage at the senior center?
No.
No.
I think that's the deal there, we don't have signs.
Nothing to take down. This is really about the signage.
Yes, sir.
It's not what we allow, it's what we say we allow, or don't allow.
I'm just wondering if the senior center should receive the same attention that the library does. And I'm not asking that of you, Chief, I guess I'm asking that of my compadres up here.
I think we should let it go and see what happens as far as, it's not being challenged at this time. I think they have some rules in effect up there, they do have, limited access to people coming and going there, from the front entrance, as does the recreation center.
The rec center does because you're checking identification. I don't know that you have that at the senior center.
I don't know if they check identification.
This does not include the Hoover Met Park, but it does not, because they have controlled access, that's correct, right?
Yeah, that's the threshold is, do you have controlled access to people coming and going? And that's why Chief Dursis is deployed guards there at the library, at the library. So right now, we're in compliance with law.
What about all the school properties? Are they all controlled access?
Yes, not a problem.
And the athletic fields attached to them?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing, to consider the request of Hoya Time, DHO 280 LLC for conditional use approval for sale of retail beer and retail table wine on or off premises at 5426 Highway 280 East, Suite 9, property owned by Terrace LLC. Need a motion to approve.
Mr. President, I move for approval of conditional use.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Need an ABC application.
Mr. President, I move for approval of the application.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll be setting public hearings for Monday, June 6th at 6 p.m. to consider the following request. Mr. Jonathan Belcher, Black Ridge Partners LLC, requested to rezone approximately 1,519 acres located east-south Express Road, North Dakota River, line between State Forest Parkway and Highway 52. A1 agriculture and not zoned to PUD, PUD, be known as Black Ridge. This property is owned by Black Ridge Partners and Riverwoods Holdings, PZ. Mr. House is going to give us a brief overview, and I understand the applicant wants to make a retraction on one point. Mr. House?
Yes, sir.
I need to confirm that.
There's a reference in the document to reserve density of 1,232 units in that reserve density.
Microphone, please.
This one,
This is a retraction before the first reading.
Retraction prior to the first reading is to delete the reference in the document to reserve density. The PUD is, as you briefly stated, contains 1,519 acres. We're proposed to construct 1,150 dwellings, less than one dwelling per acre on the property. With the exception of the medium density area, which can have as many as 362 units, all of the lots on 1,523 acres will comply with the R1 zoning, which is 15,000 square foot lots, 75-foot lot width. Property will be accessed through the Wilbur property. The third page of the handout is the map which shows the Wilbur property in blue. And the reason that's contained in the handout is that stadium trace will be extended from the current terminus through the Wilbur property, which is already zoned, not part of the zoning, over the railroad tracks down into the Signature property, which is about 650 units, then over the second railroad, the Riverwoods property, which is about 500 units, and then ultimately on down to Highway 52. It's important that the development of the property progresses north and south so that the city can serve in an efficient manner. And, it prohibits the property from being developed from south to north, if you will, in order to have a good access for public safety and public services. There's also a development plan attached there. There'll be a main primary road through the property. The signature property will be a private gated community, so there'll be no through traffic from Highway 52 up through Trace Crossings. This property was annexed, subject to an annexation agreement, and developer has agreed to comply with all of the conditions of that annexation agreement with regard to density, park and recreation land donations, fire station construction, and school sites.
Mr. President, Bob, the 1,000 units for the give back density in the 2,200, is that included in the 2,200 or is that in addition to the 2,200?
That's included in the 2,200.
And
2,320 units will be now give back, and it will not be 1,232, which was the reserve.
And how many students do you think that will save the school system?
1,200 houses, average of one student per 3 houses, probably 300-400 students at least.
So the amendment of 1,232 units, reserve density has been removed.
It will be removed prior, yes, sir, it has been removed. Yes.
And you mentioned something about a school site.
The annexation agreement required that the developer provide a school site for each 1,800 units to be constructed. Under 1,800 units divided by 3, gives 600 students. 600 students were determined to be an elementary school. With the reserve density going away, the maximum that can be constructed on this property, subject to the annexation agreement, is 1,150 units. So the developer will not owe for a school site, not owe the school board on paying the school site.
Say that again?
If 1,800 units are constructed on the property, the developer owes the school board a prepared school site. If it's less than 1,800, they don't owe the schools.
So it's gonna be less than 1,800 though?
Yes, sir. It'll be 1,150.
So the prepared school site is out.
That would go with the reserve density. Had the reserve density stayed in, had been developed, that would have generated 2,200 units, which would have exceeded the 18. So now that we're less than the 18, there would be no obligation to buy a school site. But there'd be a lot less students as well, obviously.
Any questions from Mr. House and the council?
Second zoning case,
Wait a second, we got the first reading to deal with there. First reading of that, Mr. Walden.
This is the first reading of ordinance number 162303. This ordinance amends the zoning map of the city to rezone a total of 12 parcels known as Black Ridge as a planned unit district, known as a PUD. Proceed and read the other ordinances, first readings.
Let's just do them one at a time. Mr. House is on a roll here. He's ready to go on vacation.
second case is the Hoover Sportsplex building. Some of the buildings are located on the Hoover Met property, which is zoned C2. Some of the property is currently zoned agriculture. In order to achieve compliance with the zoning ordinance, all of the building property has to be zoned C2. So as you can see from the subject map there, the area, or orange, if you will, supposed to be zoned to C2, so that all the building and everything within 100 feet around the building will be zoned to C2 instead of that.
That include fields 1 and 4?
Just the area marked in red, orange, and red.
questions for Mr. House? First reading, Mr. Walton.
This is first reading of ordinance number 162304, which amends the zoning map of the city to rezone a parcel comprised of 6.63 acres and located on RV Trace as C2 Community Business District.
Third case involves 4 lots located on Sierra Drive, currently zoned C1. Neighborhood shopping, the property is proposed to be purchased by Tamron Honda for the use of storing used vehicles, operable used vehicles, new vehicles, or possibly employee parking. The property actually abuts Crest Cadillac on the primary boundary of the property. But Tamron has access to it from their north, from the north parking lot. King Acura plans to use a small portion of the property. They will access it from Sierra Drive, so there is one driveway from Sierra Drive to the subject property. There's no opposition to this at Planning Commission. The following restrictions are recommended by the Planning Commission. They're listed on that sheet, dealing with the limitation of its use, the height of light fixtures, type of fence constructed around the property, no automobile delivery trucks parked in the street. If King Acura does not participate in this parking area, which is a good possibility, then the driveway going to Sierra Drive will be eliminated, and that was a concern that everyone had, trying to keep traffic on Sierra Drive. So King Acura stays in the deal, the driveway will stay. If they find another site, then the driveway will be closed, and Tamron can access the property through their existing parking.
Questions for Mr. House and council?
Bob, obviously the houses that are on these lots now will be demolished and replaced with asphalt.
Placed with asphalt, curbing, landscaping, decorative metal fence. There's a rendering of the decorative fence there. Hoover just ringing the chain link down on Sierra. And then ornamental iron fence along Sierra, and have landscaping between Sierra and the fence to improve the appearance of it.
First word, thank you, Mr. House. First reading, Mr. Walton.
Ordinance 162305 would amend the zoning map of the city to rezone the properties on Sierra Drive located at 3428, 3432, 3436, and 3440 to C2 Community Business District.
Thank you, sir. Payment of bills, Mr. Smith.
Mr. President, I reviewed the bills and recommend they be paid in full as presented.
Second. No motion, second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We got a big week coming up. We got the regional golf tournament, starts Wednesday, and the following week we got the SEC baseball tournament, which promises to be exciting with 7 SEC teams, probably not Alabama, hosting regionals, it looks like projected. Do we have a Boy Scout on the back row back there?
Yes.
Who stand up and tell us your name and what troop you're in?
My name is Wolf Anderson. I'm from Troop 96.
Okay. Working on your communications badge? Good to have you here. Additional comments from the council? Hearing none?
Hey, wait.
Okay. It's been work session mode.
I mean, are you an auctioneer today?
What was it?
On the Singer 613 River Haven Place. Like to, address the education issue as regard to the 1,800 units. I'd like to remind everyone that the annexation that took place back in 1994 involved 2,420 acres. This particular development is 1,519 acres. Most of the rest of the acreage from that period is still owned by U.S. Steel. Any development on that of residential homes would count toward the 1,800 homes. And I think it's something to, to bear in mind. So, because it's not gonna be, for another 8, 10, maybe 15 years before all of this is fully developed. And who among us, especially someone like myself, is gonna remember the annexation that took place in 1994 and what its conditions are. So I think it's important to somewhere in the changes that are made to the PUD document before it's voted on, to acknowledge that 2,420 units and its connection to the, to that piece of land and the obligation to the Board of Education. When I was at the Planning and Zoning Board and this application was heard, it was mentioned that not all of the units will have sewerage connections, that there will be septic connections. When we're talking about, let's say, the Blackwoods property, which is 823 acres, where they're permitted to put up 500 homes, I don't think they're going to be able to get quite the kind of price for those homes with septic systems that they would with sewage systems. Now, I don't know what the condition is with regard to the Jefferson County sewer system extending to cover that, but there is another player to be considered, and that is Southwest Water Company. They have a base of operations in Pelham. They service Shelby County. This property is in Shelby County. I think we deserve to have the best for our new residents when they come. Thank you.
Mr. Singer, is that also the same company that bought the Shelby County wastewater treatment plant?
I don't know. It could be. Could well be. I know that they're a good neighbor. They were our title sponsor for our fundraisers at the Arc of Shelby County. So I know that they're good people with good hearts, and that's why I bring them up. Thank you.
For the record, Mr. Singer, I didn't get on the council in '96. This was pretty right.
Exactly. There you go. I mean, so, the institutional knowledge is being lost, and this is a chance to save it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Posey.
My name is Kirk Posey. I live at 238 Cambridge Road in Bluff Park. I'll be brief. Up at the park that we have beside the pool, there's no bathroom access, and a lot of parents have been saying when they're playing up there that the kids, they've got to take them home.
You talking about Bluff Park?
The community park, yes, sir, it's beside the pool.
Community school.
Yes. Is it possible to get bathroom access, say, from the outside into the community center where people can use those bathrooms, utilize them? I know there's a line item in the budget for $150,000 for that area. Could it be put toward that?
Tim, have you been spoken to about this?
It's been on social media mostly.
Okay, so.
Well, there's events at the community center, which obviously would cause that not to work.
Right, but having like a.
There's not a lot of bathrooms in the community center that I've seen.
Okay, so it would have to be a new restroom facility?
It probably would be.
Is that possible?
Certainly be a possibility to look at.
Let's look into it.
Have to be
Okay,
a
great.
budgetary item.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Somebody placed on social media that $50,000 has been allocated. I thought that was a meeting I must have missed.
That was for the community center, $150,000 for the community center upgrades.
Any additional comments? We're adjourned.